It was a quiet summer afternoon in 2010 when the Martin family decided to go hiking in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The air was warm, the forest alive with the sound of birds and running water. It was supposed to be a simple family trip, a short trail walk, some photos, and a picnic by the river. The Martins were experienced hikers. They knew the trails well. Their youngest child, 6-year-old Ben, was especially excited. He'd been talking about catching frogs and finding rocks shaped like animals. Ben was full of energy, always running ahead but never too far. That day, he did the same until suddenly he didn't come back. Around 4:30 p.m., the family reached a fork in the trail. Ben ran a few yards ahead, laughing and calling back to his parents. His father shouted for him to stop and wait at the next bend. They heard his footsteps fade around the corner, and then silence. When they reached the bend, Ben was gone. At first, they thought he might be hiding behind a tree, trying to surprise them. They called his name. Nothing. They searched both directions, still nothing. Panic started to rise. Within minutes, they realized something was very wrong. They ran back down the trail toward the parking area, asking other hikers if they'd seen a little boy in a red t-shirt and blue shorts. No one had. Rangers were called immediately. By evening, search teams were combing the area with dogs, drones, and thermal cameras. Ben's footprints were found about half a mile off the main trail, small prints that wandered through the dirt, then abruptly stopped at a patch of broken branches. Beyond that point, there was no trace. It was as if he had stepped off the earth. The search went on for days. Hundreds of volunteers joined in. Helicopters scanned the forest canopy. Dogs tracked the scent to a stream, then lost it. Rain came on the third day, washing away any remaining evidence. There were no signs of a struggle, no torn clothing, no blood, nothing that suggested an animal attack. As the days passed, the search changed from rescue to recovery. But the Martins refused to give up hope. They told reporters Ben was smart enough to find shelter, that maybe he was just lost and scared. Still, weeks went by with no progress. Eventually, the official search was called off. Then the stories began. About a month after the disappearance, a family camping roughly 10 miles away reported seeing a boy matching Ben's description. The boy was with a man wearing a brown jacket and carrying a large backpack. When the campers waved, the man turned away quickly and led the boy into the woods. The description of the boy's clothes matched exactly what Ben had been wearing when he vanished. The sighting reignited the case. Investigators searched the area, but they found nothing. No campfire remains, no tracks, no evidence that anyone had been there. Still, locals kept reporting strange encounters. One hiker said he heard a child's voice crying near a stream, but when he went to look, he found no one. Another camper said she saw small footprints near her tent one night, alongside much larger ones. The case began to draw national attention. True crime forums and Reddit threads exploded with theories. Some said Ben had been taken by someone familiar with the terrain, a hermit, a hunter, or even a park employee. Others believed he'd fallen into a cave or sinkhole, explaining why searchers couldn't find him. But the strangest part came 5 years later. In 2015, a photo surfaced online. It showed a boy about 11 years old, sitting at a diner somewhere in rural Kentucky. He looked eerily like Ben, the same hair color, the same birthmark near his ear. The man who posted the photo claimed he'd met the pair and that the boy didn't speak, only nodded when spoken to. The man he was with said his name was Eli and that he didn't like strangers taking photos. When investigators traced the post, the account was deleted. The diner owner said he remembered them but didn't know who they were. The Martins were shown the photo. Ben's mother broke down crying. "That's my son," she said. But without proof, there was nothing law enforcement could do. Facial analysis suggested a resemblance, but couldn't confirm it. Years passed again. Every so often, someone reported seeing a boy who looked like Ben in different towns, Kentucky, Tennessee, even as far as Missouri. Each time, the trail went cold. The family still receives anonymous letters from people claiming to have seen him. One letter, postmarked from Kentucky, read only, "He's safe, but he can't come home." Today, more than a decade later, Ben Martin's disappearance remains one of the most haunting, unsolved cases in the region. No remains were ever found. No one was ever arrested. The forest has long since reclaimed the place where his footprints ended. Some believe he was taken and raised under a false identity. Others think he got lost and died somewhere no one has ever searched. A few even claim there's something deeper, something unnatural about the way he vanished, because in those mountains, dozens of people have disappeared in nearly the same way. Footprints that lead nowhere, voices heard in the woods, and no bodies ever recovered. Whatever really happened to Ben Martin, one thing is certain. A 6-year-old boy ran ahead of his family on a bright summer day, and within seconds, he was gone. What do you think happened to him? Was he kidnapped, lost, or taken by something we can't explain?